Fine.
Okay, now continuing with our second phase of our discussion on parenting by parents who was children themselves in this very own, you can say, in this decade. Now, we were talking about online teaching and online coaching. So Adit was telling us something about how he managed his kids' education online. So can you throw some more light upon it?
Yeah, as I said, the initial days were they were a bit excited, because it was something new and the kids didn't have to go to school, so they were very excited. But as time went, they realized, it was more of a realization that, it's not like a real classroom, you don't have your
Correct.
friends, you don't have, and, we as adults, we don't realize, we sit on the laptop for a long time, we don't realize, but it's actually very tiring for the kids,
Correct.
you know,
Yes.
sometimes they feel like very sleepy, they feel tired because they're not meant to study that way. So,
Correct.
My daughter really misses going to school now. Earlier that was not the case, but now she really misses it. She understands, why it's
Correct.
more important.
What about
Yes.
Janvi? I think you must have been more involved in Niti's schooling and on online education. So, how did you manage it? It was a different phase altogether for everyone.
Yes, actually. The thing is, Niti is quite grown up now, so she manages herself the online classes, whatever queries she has. She asks me later on. But otherwise, she enjoys. Many times it happens that it happened last year when I was little depressed. I was little depressed that I was not able to meet my friends,
Oh,
and I was like, sometime we should go out, or maybe you should plan out. And she only came up and said, why don't you have a virtual meeting? We
oh,
all friends will meet regularly. So uh, from her side, it is quite positive. I did not face any such problems having online session, and where she's active in all the sessions, like her having her classes online, meeting her friends, chatting with them, and having her activities online. So it is quite easy journey for me.
you also were having online coaching done yourself. I mean, you yourself were teaching students, if I'm not wrong.
No, actually, right now I took a break because my son is quite
Okay,
small.
okay.
So this year, fortunately, in the
Okay, okay.
lockdown period, I
Because
was
I
little
just
bit
wanted to know how it would be teaching and seeing your kid
there.
learn, online. So that would have been a very different aspect
Yeah.
altogether.
This
Uh,
year was a break for me.
it was, yeah,
So
correct. And Surud and Shweta, you both are work from home couples. So how did you manage your kids during this time? Like, obviously parents do help us, but then it must have been a trying time keeping them occupied with something. So did you use the online, those animated videos and all that to keep them, occupied with something positive? What was your stance?
So I think the initial month was very difficult because we are, even though both our parents are close by to help, we are heavily dependent on our nannies and our maids because our work timings are such that we cannot expect our parents to sit and take care of twins for like
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
7-8
Correct.
hours. So for the first, I think 3-4 months they were not there. So it was very difficult, and we then tried to figure a system out where one kid was sent to one parent and the other kid was sent to the other
Oh.
parent, and so we had to divide and rule because otherwise work was not happening. So work took a huge hit for us because both of us are fairly senior in the system, so we can't just take off. Initially, I think the
Exactly.
first 2 3 weeks were very considerate, saying that, "Ha, theek hai, we understand. You take your time," and so we used to work only like 2 hours in the day. Then I think they also started seeing there is there's no sense in waiting anymore, and then they ramped us. So we had no choice but to do that.
Correct.
But yes, screen time did go up because for parents, that is one way, to help the kids to just like calm down and when you just need your time. So
Correct.
for
Yeah.
both my parents and the parents, screen time was there. And we had not kept a restriction, but we had told them to just keep it to a minimum. Right now, once the nanny started coming back home, now the screen time is only in the night, like for half an hour before they sleep. Otherwise,
So,
no other screen.
okay. But they don't miss
So we
the.
were, no, so yeah, they still like yearn for it, but we try and keep it up.
Okay, now being through these different phases of my teaching career, I have seen that, in the initial days, parents were always worried about the television being a distraction for children from their studies. Then came the phase when the cable TV came in and cable TV was a distraction, so parents used to complain. Then came the phase where, there was something called as the pool table. The children used to be addicted to pool table, and so that became a distraction. Then came the mobiles were a distraction. So every time parents had something to look up to blame for their children's academic inefficiencies. So when you grow up, maybe in the next 10 years, your children are going to be obviously, I mean, addicted to the mobile phones because it's going to be a part of their learning system. I'm not saying
Correct.
addicted in a negative way, but they've got a lot of online things to do. So how are you going to, what are you going to blame at that time? Are you going to blame some system or are you going to
Nothing.
accept it? Nothing.
Nothing. I think see, it's a reality, right? Because even we are on our phones, whether we like it or not. So
Correct. Yes.
one is work, and the second is just stress buster, right?
Yeah.
Every time that we wake up, and we also go to sleep with the phones in our face. So I don't expect the kids to get up and grow and do something really different. But it's
Uh-huh.
just the value of doing other things also needs to be there. It can't just be screens. Screens is inevitable. We can't live without it. So that is something that I think I have made my peace with.
And what
But they
about,
just need to know.
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah,
No,
go
it's
ahead.
okay. And I was just going on to Bhagyashree because, I wanted to ask her, you are a working parent. So how are you going to manage, flitting between your child's mobile addiction, which is going to come in the long run? You'll have to keep monitoring what they are watching, all these things. So how are you planned that you're going to tackle those issues?
Most of the times, ma'am, when I am in the clinic, my daughter is with my parents actually.
Okay.
Okay, so when she is with my parents, my mother anyways doesn't allow her to touch the mobile.
Oh.
That is one of the good factor. And she normally, if she's not touching the mobile, she's into some creative activities. She keeps on doing something, constructing something. So this is what she's doing currently. I really don't know in the future how it is going to happen because currently she listens to whatever I tell her or if I explain her something. I'll try my best that in the future also I try to explain her the pros and the cons of mobile, and just I'm keeping my fingers crossed that she listens to me.
Correct, yes. And Abhishek, you are out on tour most of the time with your job, commitments. So how do you relate to your daughter, like, when you come back from your tour and you are with her, you spend time with her and you find her, busy on the mobile, either for a school homework assignment or something. How are you going to tackle those issues?
So what I do is when I am back home after a long tour, and I actually miss her whenever I'm on tour. Once I'm back, I ensure that I give the maximum time to her. I try and keep my mobile phone by and large away whenever I'm there with her. It's difficult. It's not that easy, but I still try and make some schedule. So whenever I'm back home, specifically maybe after 7:30 or 8, I stop taking calls. So I
Oh,
normally
very
don't
good.
take calls and I spend time. Yeah. So that's
Very
one
good.
thing that I've tried to do over a period of time. So usually people have an anxiety. I mean, when people works, I mean, right what Surut said, when people works in higher ranks, they are supposed to respond and
Correct.
reciprocate in time. But
Correct.
I have tried to use that button of on and off switch, wherein if I am home, I try and keep that button off
That's very nice. That's a
and
very
try to
nice
keep that
thing.
time. I'm trying to keep that time for family. And so when I give my time to her and when I'm with her, it happens that at times she is busy on the screen, but she also realizes that my dad has come after a long time and he's going to miss me. He is already missing me. So that's when she comes up and she starts chatting. And I we also try and make sure that we watch some movie at the end of the day. Maybe it's on a Friday night, on a Saturday night when I mean, there are no commitment the next day morning. We end up watching a movie as well. So that's something that we do together. So that's the family time for us.
Very good. Very good. Surud, what about you? I mean, you have chosen a career which is quite offbeat from what regular students of your generation would have done at that time? I'm talking about the 90s and, early 2000s. How are you going to be responsible for your child or your children's, career choice?
Career choices. I was just reading sometime or a couple of days back, saying what are the jobs of the future. Maybe my kids are just 2 now, but probably in another 15 years, 20 years, when they are old enough to start working, the kind of jobs are going to be drastically different than what we are seeing right now. One of the jobs was a biomechanical expert. So this person is someone who creates body parts out of or other, how do I put it? I don't want to say fake body parts, but these are engineered body parts. For example, there is already a work going on the lens which restores vision.
Okay.
There is a lens which has a zoom capacity. So, the bionic human is going to be a reality very soon. And that is the kind of jobs that people are going to be doing, creating or other engineering body parts. For example, we see a lot of these neuro receptors where people who have lost their arms and limbs can actually move, by attaching neuro sensors to
Regenerative
their
cells. Yeah.
This is going to be one big important job in the future. There's going to be AI is coming up great. So most of the jobs are going to be in the technology, data-driven kind of a space, where probably creative work like music or art are also going to get taken over by AI in the future. And not to sound too dystopian, but the kind of Terminator vision that was on screen in the 90s, that is slowly coming true. So, given the choice of career, I think, as they can do whatever they want, as long as, it doesn't involve crime.
Correct.
Open up, because like when we were kids, you had only 3 streams, right? You had science, arts, and commerce.
Correct.
There was no specification of any sort. I figured out later that I could also do commercial arts, or maybe there is an applied art, an architecture or interior design in that creative route. Whereas if you go into science, then biotech was great at that time. Biotech was coming up. IITs, NIITs, the entire IT side of things was just it had just started coming up. So options had started opening up at that time, but still the knowledge about what to do, what do I want to do as a person was not there. Or rather, that sort of introspection wasn't there. But now, if I look at the kids these days, so the 8-10-year-olds, they know so many other jobs. I wouldn't say jobs, but they know so many other career options.
Correct. So the world has opened up for them. The world has opened up.
I cannot imagine someone saying that I want to be an Instagram influencer when I was 15 years old. क्या करेगा तो Instagram influencer करता क्या है? How do Instagram influencers earn money?
Correct.
And now it is a full-time job. A YouTuber is a full-time job. So a few years back, I had gone to Worli with some of my office colleagues to a YouTuber concert. It was something new for me, because what does a YouTuber do is a question for me, and why do they have to have awards? Another question for me. But when I went there, I understood that okay, there is a different world out there, and because of the media explosion and the way it's going to go ahead in the future, I think careers are going to be aplenty. And
that means the conventional careers are going to be out, and there's something new and innovative going to come up. Yeah,
new and unconventional is the way ahead, right?
And I think all of you as parents, all of you as parents are open to that. Like, you're not going to be like earlier how it was, like when the student was in the 10th standard, the relatives and all used to come and give their loads of advice, unwanted ones, of course, most of them, and that, you should be a doctor or an engineer or, certain things which were fixed. But now things have changed. And now I think each one knows best what they're good at. And that's how the world has opened up. So it has
Yeah.
been really a great thing, talking to you all about various kind. And I think as parents, you all are more open to suggestions, and I'm sure your children are very lucky to have you all as parents. Of course, time is going to tell us. Maybe after 10 years, when I
Yeah,
interview your when I interview your
I
kids,
think we
I'll
should
come to
keep
know.
this recording when they
No,
grow up. We should share this recording with them. But one good thing is that, that it's not dependent on marks anymore. Or 90% hai to by
yeah, yeah,
default
yeah.
you're supposed to go into
Correct.
science whether you like it or not. And if you're in that unfortunate below 60%, to tumhare liye arts is reserved. So it's not like that anymore.
Correct. That's all. It's all
Even
a changed game. Yeah, the
yeah,
entire thing
it's
as
all on
system
this.
has changed. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have students who have scored 93 and above, and who have taken arts as a very conscious decision because they wanted to do something in literature. So I think that's something
That's
really
all.
very nice. And the entire
Hmm.
family and their society, termed them as crazy and mad for getting such a good score and going towards arts and literature.
Yeah.
But I think that's we need to change the mindset. I think what I would like to tell you is about, everyone keeps posting things on social media about so many, career options, yeah, any other thing which is there. So if your kids post something on I mean, let's say this is about 5 years from now. So if your kids post something on a Twitter or on any other social media, and you find it objectionable, how are you going to control them? This is going to be a final question, because this is something which is going to be in depth only. We'll take it a little forward ahead with that. So in case your kids after 5 years from now post something on a social media, which may not be what it is today, but some other thing, so, and you find that it's not correct, or you find that it's objectionable, how are you going to tackle that issue? God forbid this is not going to happen, but just let's assume that some situation like that comes in. How are you going to tackle it? Who wants to answer this first? I mean, you can raise your hand and start with it.
So I will answer that, ma'am.
Yeah.
So I think what's more important is if it is objectionable, if it is something wrong that somebody has posted, I think that person realizing it and correcting that mistake there and there itself would be the primary thing. And to make sure that they understand what's wrong and what's right, I think it's more to do with our education and upbringing.
Exactly. So your upbringing
So,
is very important.
exactly.
Yeah.
And one thing that has been passed on through generation to generation, I think, is the values. आपण ज्याला संस्कार म्हणतो मराठीमध्ये, I
बरोबर,
think that
बरोबर.
is extremely important. I think you should impart that and then leave the rest to the faith of the kid.
Very
I
good,
think
very
that's
good.
because these kids today are smart. They
Correct.
know what's good for them, what's bad for them, and irrespective of the situation, I am sure they will make wonders in life. They
Correct.
will do wonders. They will excel. And as what Suru rightly suggested, the careers are going to be absolutely different. Their job profiles are going to be different. What they do is going to be something different. They may not follow the same path what we have followed. So they will do the right thing and they will achieve what they want. So if
Very good.
anybody makes a mistake, I think we should trust them. We should allow them to correct themselves, and I think all should be fine then after.
That's a very open-minded behavior. It's a very nice attitude that you have put in forth. Bhageshri, what do you like to add on this?
I feel if it is something objectionable, obviously I will say something to her. I will try to make her understand that whatever has been posted or whatever has been said is not right. In my own way, I would like to explain her how it is wrong. If she understands, that would be better. But as said just now, Abhishek said just now, the way we do the upbringing of our kids and whatever values we give to our kids, making them a good individual, basically imparting them good values, that itself will help us in the future, so that they won't do any such kind of a thing. And if it does happen, as I said, we would try to improve them or maybe guide us in the right way. If, hopefully they should listen to us.
Of course they will, because your upbringing is really going to be great. I know that. What about you, Surud? Surud and Shweta,
So,
both of you together.
Yeah, I'll answer first.
Yeah.
See, objectionable for it all depends on what the content is, right? So something that's objectionable to me might not be objectionable to my child.
So it's relative.
It's
Yeah,
relative,
yeah.
but then if I find that something that he or she has posted is objectionable, obviously it is something that demands that sort of a discipline or that reaction, then the first thing is to make them understand why it is objectionable. Because maybe it is to one person or to a certain section of the society, or maybe as a whole, it is not the right stand to take, and the reasoning behind it, and then make them delete it with an apology, saying that I did this because this is the reason, and I find that it was not in the right taste, something that a PR led approach would normally happen, right, in a situation
Correct.
like this.
Okay.
So yeah, that is probably the way to go about it, and then make sure that they understand the repercussions of this. Because what happens is, any sort of a negative action has two sources. One is nurture, and the other is nature.
Correct.
If by nature the child is missed to get that sort of response from other people as a validation, then that nature needs to be changed. If it is nurture, then it's either something wrong that we have done, or maybe they are picking up from their peers.
Correct.
So if we need to we will always try to be as correct or as so to say unobjectionable as possible, but it also depends on the kind of people that they hang around with. The school has an influence, the kind of language or the kind of friends they have, that obviously has an influence. So then finding a source is also equally important. They might be egged on by someone.
Okay, the last question I would like to ask you all is just to be answered by each couple with a yes or no. Is that if you find your children have chosen friends who are not suitable for them, according to you, but they may be good. Like, always parents find that their children choose the wrong company. Like you were told maybe by your parents, kid, so-and-so person is not a good friend for you, is not a good company to be in. So in case you find that your child is getting friendly, is getting into the company of someone who you find is not so good. So would you tell your child openly about it? Yes or no? Ageshri?
Yes, I would tell it openly.
Very good. What about Abhishek?
Yes, we would.
Definitely.
And what about Surud?
Yes, I think yes, I will tell them. I can't hope for them to change, but at least let our opinion.
But then don't you think then you'll be carrying forward the same flag which your parents must have done for you? They must have chosen friends for you. And you may not have wanted to be friendly with such people. And the friends you chose, your parents would not have liked them. So don't you think you're going the same track?
Yeah, it is the same thing only. As I said, it's exactly the same world that we are in. Maybe the nuts and bolts have changed now. But as I said, it is about having that conversation, which I don't think, at least for me growing up, wasn't there. That conversation of why is this right or why is that wrong. And if I respect it, I would.
Very good.
If my child respects it, then great. Otherwise, can't do much about it.
Yes,
I think conversation was not a part of anybody's childhood. Especially of our generation. It was a mandate that this is. It was binary, 0 or 1.
Correct.
It is my way or the highway. Probably what is happening today is these kids, because they are so very open to information and all other things, and so very vocal, they are aggressive as well. So that is also a reason why I think there is more of a consultative kind of an approach where we talk to them, we chat to them, where we try and be their friends, and then we try and win them over. I think winning them over is the best part of it. Okay. And then what happens if we win them over, then I think that thing stays for a long time.
The job is done. Correct. Yeah. So I think we'll wind up on this positive note that, you're all excellent parents and you're going to bring up your kids in the most awesome manner. And today being Valentine's Day, each one of you is with your Valentines. So wish you all a very happy Valentine's Day. I would also like to tell you that those people with whom you were romantically involved in your college days, you have got married to those people. So, happy life further for you also. And I would like to tell you one thing, because, coming from the background of mathematics coaching, maths has got a constant and a variable as an expression, correct? The constant factor in all our lives is going to be love, for which we celebrate this day, and the variable factor, the people with whom we share that love. So let our lives be full of mathematical expressions with full of love. And it was really great having all of you here. Thank you, Hagesh and Adit. Thank you, Abhishek and Janvi. Thank you, Surud
Thank
and
you.
Shweta. Wish you all a very happy Valentine's Day and future times ahead. Bye.
Thank
Same
you.
to
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Good talking
Bye,
to you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.